The President of the EU Council says there hasn't been sufficient progress at the Brexit talks for negotiators to move on to discussing Britain's future relations with the EU. Donald Tusk, who met Theresa May in Downing Street today, was speaking as a fourth round of negotiations were underway in Brussels.
If you ask me, and if today member states asked me, I would say there is no sufficient progress yet, but we will work on it.
Donald Tusk there. Well, our political correspondent Chris Mason is in Downing Street. Chris, this doesn't bode well for those talks. I mean, David Davis was hoping for a breakthrough.
Yeah, on the face of it, George, it doesn't. The whole point of that speech from the Prime Minister in Florence last week on Brexit was to try and act as a lubricant to the talks that are grinding on in Brussels with real frustration on both sides about a lack of progress. Now, Mr Tusk, who is one of the big hitters in Brussels, did say he welcomed what he saw as the constructive tone of the Prime Minister, but crucially, and you saw it there, he said there hadn't been sufficient progress in the talks, and that really matters because until the EU determines there's been sufficient progress on the current negotiations on unknotting our current relationship with the EU, they say there can't be movement on to the future trading relationship. So, did Mrs May's words in Italy last week do the business? Well, a bit, yes, but perhaps not enough yet from her perspective. They won't be worried about that yet here or surprised at what Mr Tusk said, but will really hope they can point to progress on Thursday at the end of the current round of negotiations.
Chris, thank you very much. And the time is 6.